It was a strange week last week, a strange week in celebrity deaths. It was a strange week. The big ones for me are Ozzy Osbourne and Hulk Hogan died. Very different legacies those two men left. Because Ozzy Osbourne, he was a rock star, had very public, battles with, drugs and alcohol, bit the head off a bat, and he somehow has the less complicated legacy of the two. I don't know how you pull that off, but even just the bat thing alone, none of the articles mentioned him biting the head off the bat. A lot of the ones, if one of us did that, that's the only thing we're known for. That is the only thing. Even if I bit the head off a bat and I died, the obituary would say, "Finally, bat eater dead." Like that would be. No one's gonna mention I told jokes. No one's gonna say that at all. But he had that, and then Hulk Hogan. He had a childhood hero, but over the years, so much. You'd say racial slurs in a sex tape, and there's no reeling that back. They're saying it, then they're saying it with your dick out, and that's a different vibe entirely. I don't know. And I kept thinking about, why are their legacies so different? I think a big part of this, too, because Ozzy, at a point, stopped being Ozzy. The mystique was stripped away, right? Because then he was on that show, The Osbournes, right? So he went from Prince of Darkness to then just being a guy in gym shorts. And, we didn't need to see that. No one wanted to see his legs, but we did. But Hulk Hogan, kept being Hulk Hogan, but just kept moving the marker on what Hulk Hogan represented, right? Because he's from that era of wrestlers, the hardcore kayfabe era of wrestlers. If you don't know what that means, that's the wrestlers who never broke character, right? They were in that character, intense all the time, doing cocaine and steroids, and then their hearts exploded. That's what happened to every single one of them. All my favorite wrestlers at the time. Macho Man Randy Savage is what happened to him. He was Macho Man all the time. I remember watching a documentary about Macho Man Randy Savage, and his brother in the documentary said, "I haven't seen my brother in 30 years, because it's been Macho Man Randy Savage." Which, what's that Thanksgiving like? Grandma! Pass the mashed potato! It's what is... Derek, how's college going? Got a girlfriend? What? And it's so fun. So he kept moving the mile marker of what Hulk Hogan represented, especially in recent years he got so into politics, right? He spoke at the RNC and introduced Donald Trump and ripped his shirt off, was still doing Hulk Hogan stuff. And I remember that got people on the right all fired up. They're like, yeah, these are our celebrities. You can keep your wimpy George Clooney's or whatever. We got big boys. We got big boys over here. We're the tough party, And then Hulk Hogan died before Joe Biden. That's crazy. Joe Biden is 10 years older than Hulk Hogan and currently has cancer. And he's still knocking around his house muttering, like Ozzy Osbourne, oddly enough, just... Sharon, and that's weird because that's not his wife's name.